Questioner. It is true that society is based on acquisitiveness and ambition, but if we had no ambition, would we not decay? Krishnamurti replied, this is really a very important question and it needs great attention. This is really a very important question and it needs great attention. Do you know what attention is? Let us find out. Questioner. It is true that society is based on acquisitiveness and ambition, but if we had no ambition, would we not decay? Krishnamurti replied, this is really a very important question and it needs great attention. Do you know what attention is? Let us find out. In a classroom, when you stare out of the window or pull somebody's hair, the teacher tells you to pay attention. Which means what? That you are not interested in what you are studying, and so the teacher compels you to pay attention, which is not attention at all. Attention comes when you are deeply interested in something. For then, you love to find out all about it. Then your whole mind, your whole being is there. Similarly, the moment you see that this question, if we had no ambition, would we not decay, is really a very important. You are interested and want to find out the truth of the matter. Now, is not the ambitious man destroying himself? That is the first thing to find out, not to ask whether ambition is right or wrong. Look around you. Observe all the people who are ambitious. What happens when you are ambitious? You are thinking about yourself, are you not? You are cruel. You push other people aside because you are trying to fulfill your ambition, trying to become a big man, thereby creating in society the conflict between those who are succeeding and those who are falling behind. There is a constant battle between you and the others who are also after what you want. And is this conflict productive of creative living? Do you understand, or is this too difficult? Are you ambitious when you love to do something for its own sake? When you are doing something with your whole being, not because you want to get somewhere or have more profit or greater results, but simply because you love to do it. In that, there is no ambition, is there? In that, there is no competition. You are not struggling with anyone for first place. And Should not education help you to find out what you really love to do so that from the beginning to the ending of your life you are working at something which you feel is worthwhile and which for you has deep significance? Otherwise, for the rest of your days, you will be miserable. Not knowing what you really want to do, your mind falls into a routine in which there is only boredom, decay, and death. That is why it is very important to find out while you are young what it is you really love to do. And this is the only way to create a new society. Questioner. In India, as in most other countries, education is being controlled by the government. Under such circumstances, is it possible to carry out an experiment of the kind you describe? Krishnamurti. If there were no government help, would it be possible for a school of this kind to survive? That is what this gentleman is asking. He sees everything throughout the world becoming more and more controlled by governments, by politicians, by people in authority who want to shape our minds and hearts, who want us to think in a certain way. Whether in Russia or in any other country, the tendency is towards government control of education. And this gentleman asks whether it is possible for a school of the kind I am talking about to come into being without government aid. Now, what do you say? If you think something is important, really worthwhile, you give your heart to it, irrespective of governments and the edicts of society, and then it will succeed. But most of us do not give our hearts to anything, and that is why we put this sort of question. So if you and I feel vitally that a new world can be brought into being, when each one of us is in complete revolt inwardly, psychologically, spiritually, then we shall give our hearts, our minds, our bodies towards creating a school where there is no such thing as fear with all its implications. Sir, anything truly revolutionary is created by a few who see what is true and are willing to live according to that truth. But to discover what is true demands freedom from tradition, which means freedom from all fears. The problem of freedom. I would like to discuss with you the problem of freedom. It is a very complex problem, needing deep study and understanding. We hear much talk about freedom, religious freedom, and the freedom to do what one would like to do. Volumes have been written on all this by scholars, but I think we can approach it very simply and directly. And perhaps that will bring us to the real solution. I wonder if you have ever stopped to observe the marvelous glow in the west as the sun sets, with the shy young moon just over the trees. Often at that hour, the river is very calm, and then everything is reflected on its surface. The bridge, the train that goes over it, the tender moon, and presently, as it grows dark, the stars. It is all very beautiful. And to observe, to watch, to give your whole attention to something beautiful, your mind must be free of preoccupations, must it not? It must not be occupied with problems, with worries, with speculations. It is only when the mind is very quiet that you can really observe, for then the mind is sensitive to extraordinary beauty. And perhaps here is a clue to our problem of freedom. Now, what does it mean to be free? Is freedom a matter of doing what happens to suit you, going where you like, thinking what you will? This you do anyhow. Merely to have independence, does that mean freedom? Many people in the world are independent, but very few are free. Freedom implies great intelligence, does it not? To be free is to be intelligent. But intelligence does not come into being by just wishing to be free. It comes into being only when you begin to understand your whole environment, the social, religious, parental, and traditional influences that are continually closing in on you. But to understand the various influences, the influence of your parents, of your government, of society, of the culture to which you belong, of your beliefs, your gods, and superstitions, of the tradition to which you conform unthinkingly, to understand all this and become free from them requires deep insight. But you generally give in to them because inwardly you are frightened. You are afraid of not having a good position in life. You are afraid of what your priest will say. You are afraid of not following tradition, of not doing the right thing. But freedom is really a state of mind in which there is no fear or compulsion, no urge to be secure. Don't most of us want to be safe? Don't we want to be told what marvelous people we are, how lovely we look, or what extraordinary intelligence we have? Otherwise, we would not put letters after our names. All that kind of thing gives us self assurance, a sense of importance. We all want to be famous people, and the moment we want to be something, we are no longer free. Please see this, for it is the real clue to the understanding of the problem of freedom. Whether in this world of politicians, power, position, and authority, or in the so called spiritual world where you aspire to be virtuous, noble, saintly, the moment you want to be somebody, you are no longer free. But the man or the woman who sees the absurdity of all these things and whose heart is therefore innocent and therefore not moved by the desire to be somebody, such a person is free. If you understand the simplicity of it, you will also see its extraordinary beauty and depth. After all, examinations are for that purpose, to give you a position, to make you somebody. Titles, position, and knowledge encourage you to be something. Have you not noticed that your parents and teachers tell you that you must amount to something in life? That you must be successful like your uncle or your grandfather? Or you try to imitate the example of some hero to be like the masters, the saints, so you are never free. Whether you follow the example of a master, a saint, a teacher, a relative, or stick to a particular tradition, it all implies a demand on your part to be something. And it is only when you really understand this fact that there is freedom. The function of education then is to help you from childhood not to imitate anybody, but to be yourself all the time. And this is a most difficult thing to do. Whether you are ugly or beautiful, whether you are envious or jealous, always to be what you are, but understand it. To be yourself is very difficult because you think that what you are is ignoble, and that if you could only change what you are into something noble, it would be marvelous. But that never happens. Whereas if you look at what you actually are and understand it, then in that very understanding, there is a transformation. So, freedom lies not in trying to become something different, nor in doing whatever you happen to feel like doing, nor in following the authority of tradition, of your parents, of your guru, but in understanding what you are from moment to moment. You see, you are not educated for this. Your education encourages you to become something or other, but that is not the understanding of yourself. Your self is a very complex thing. It is not merely the entity that goes to school, that quarrels, that plays games, that is afraid, but it is also something hidden, not obvious. It is made up not only of all the thoughts that you think, but also of all the things that have been put into your mind by other people, by books, by the newspapers, by your leaders. And it is possible to understand all that only when you don't want to be somebody, when you don't imitate, when you don't follow, which means really when you are in revolt against the whole tradition of trying to become something. That is the only true revolution leading to extraordinary freedom. To cultivate this freedom is the real function of education. Your parents, your teachers, and your own desires want you to be identified with something or other in order to be happy, secure. But to be intelligent, must you not break through all the influences that enslave and crush you? The hope of a new world is in those of you who begin to see what is false and revolt against it, not just verbally but actually. And that is why you should seek the right kind of education. For it is only when you grow in freedom that you can create a new world not based on tradition or shaped according to the idiosyncrasy of something of some philosopher or idealist. But there can be no freedom as long as you are merely try to become somebody or imitate a noble example. What is intelligence? Let us go into the question very slowly, patiently, and find out. To find out is not to come to a conclusion. I don't know if you see the difference. The moment you come to a conclusion as to what intelligence is, you cease to be intelligent. That is what most of the older people have done. They have come to conclusions. Therefore, they have ceased to be intelligent. So, you have found out one thing right off, that an intelligent mind is one which is constantly learning, never concluding. So, what is intelligence? Most people are satisfied with the definition of what intelligence is. Either they say that is a good explanation or they prefer their own explanation. And a mind that is satisfied with an explanation is very superficial. Therefore, it is not intelligent. So, you have begun to see that an intelligent mind is a mind which is not satisfied with explanations, with conclusions, nor is it a mind that believes, because belief is again another form of conclusion. An intelligent mind is an inquiring mind, a mind that is watching, learning, studying, which means what? That there is intelligence only when there is no fear, when you are willing to rebel, to go against the whole social structure in order to find out what God is or to discover the truth of anything. Intelligence is not knowledge. If you could read all the books in the world, it would not give you intelligence. Intelligence is something very subtle. It has no anchorage. It comes into being only when you understand the total process of the mind. Not the mind according to some philosopher or teacher, but your own mind. Your mind is the result of all humanity. And when you understand it, you don't have to study a single book because the mind contains the whole knowledge of the past. So, intelligence comes into being with the understanding of yourself. And you can understand yourself only in relation to the world of people, things, and ideas. Intelligence is not something that you can acquire, like learning. It arises with great revolt. That is when there is no fear, which means really when there is a sense of love. For when there is no fear, there is love. If you are only interested in explanations, I am afraid you will feel that I have not answered your question. To ask what is intelligence is like asking what is life. Life is study, play, sex, work, quarrel, envy, ambition, love, beauty, truth. Life is everything, is it not? But you see, most of us have not the patience earnestly and consistently to pursue this inquiry.